We thank you so much for watching Law School Made Easy at Law School Made Easy 256. Today we want straight to go to criminal law and we discuss the offense of robbery. In here we're going to discuss the offense of robbery, what makes up robbery, and then we also discuss aggravated robbery. Of course, under section 268 we have attempted robbery, but this one we have already discussed attempt in our previous videos under inchoate offenses and incomplete offenses. So just apply the knowledge we got in inchoate offenses to attempted robbery. It is the same knowledge you apply there. So this video is strictly looking at robbery and aggravated robbery. Robbery has been defined under section 266. But let us first go to the elements of theft. Now, important to note, the elements of theft all appear in robbery, but there are a few things that we add to make up robbery. Of course, under robbery, there is stealing. You steal, you deprive the other person of the property, of the right to own their property, you take away from someone. Now, but for robbery, we add on a few things. Now, the key element in robbery is that during, shortly before, or after someone stealing a property from someone intends to use or applies actual violence or actual force. You use force. You use force immediately before, after, or during the process of stealing a property from someone. Let us go slow on robbery. That what we add on theft to make up robbery is that during the robbery, the stealing, someone uses actual violence or threatens to use force. If you threaten someone in the bid to steal something from them, or you use force, that force can be before the event or after you have stolen, then what you have committed is what we call robbery. You have taken away a property. You have taken away something from somebody, and by taking it, you either use the force or you threatened to use the violence as you took it away from that somebody. The key elements are threatened to use or you apply actual violence, and then you take something from somebody. What you would have done in that particular situation is what we call robbery. And there are many cases to describe robbery, but I'm going to use Uganda versus Muhammad Sevufu for a purpose, because it will both apply for robbery and aggravated robbery when we reach there. Now, in this case, Muhammad Sevufu, they stole 300,000 and a Nokia phone from Katushabe, the lady who was killed. They stole that money from Katushabe. And that was now robbery, because they threatened her, they used the force, actual violence, to get all this from this person. And now that qualifies to be robbery. So I want to reaffirm to you what robbery is. Robbery is when someone steals and uses actual force or threatens to use force or actual violence on someone, onto someone they have stolen from. Now this threaten to use or actual violence can be during the history, before, shortly before, or after. That after maybe you have stolen from them, you kick them, you have used the violence against them, so you have stolen. Or you slap them as you take from them, that means that you have used violence. So what comes in here, the elements that one must take note of: the use of force, threaten to use force or actual violence during, immediately before, or after that constitute robbery. And if under section 267, if you are convicted for robbery by a magistrate court, you will be convicted for 10 years. And if you are convicted by the High Court, you'll be convicted for life imprisonment if it is to do with robbery. Now, as I conclude on robbery, I go to aggravated robbery. Robbery also involves taking a property of someone, but this time you are using force. You are threatening to use force. If you don't give me this, I'm going to kill you. I'll kill you. All those words you put as you steal during, before, and after is what constitutes robbery. Let's go to clause to section 267, yes, clause 2. So subsection 2. Now, for aggravated robbery, you are punished for death. Aggravated robbery, punishment is death. Now, in aggravated robbery, we now introduce, it is the same robbery that has happened, but now for aggravated to stand, we now introduce what they call a weapon. We now use a weapon for aggravated robbery. We employ a weapon. Now the question is, what is a weapon? Now, a weapon can be something designed to shoot, to stab. It can be a gun, it can be a knife, it can be a panga. In most of the cases you're going to read, you find that the pangas and the clubs, sticks, clubs, are used as weapons. But weapon does not stop on something which can be used for stabbing, shooting, all those things. It also goes to substance. Someone may use powder, substance, poison. Now, any substance which makes someone unconscious is also a weapon that is described under section 267. So we have discussed two forms of weapon. Now, for aggravated robbery to occur, somebody uses the weapon during, before, or after the stealing, the robbery, and then they take the property of someone. That is what we mean by aggravated robbery. And the intention of this weapon is to cause death or grievous body harm. Members, for aggravated robbery to occur, we must have either death or grievous bodily harm caused to the person who they have stolen from. So the moment there is an introduction of the weapon, that now goes to aggravated robbery. Let's take our example of Uganda versus Muhammad Sebufu. Muhammad Sebufu, after robbing from this woman the 300 Nokia phone using a lot of force, they now immediately after showed up with pangas and sticks and a pistol. So the involvement of this weapon now qualified what was initially robbery to aggravated robbery, because we have used a weapon. And important to note is that this weapon can be even seen after you have stolen. The moment you steal from somebody And then in the end, after we see weapons and we can establish you have caused grievous body harm or death to this person, then what you committed by taking the property which does not belong to you is what we call aggravated robbery. So let us also look at the case of Uganda versus Waiswa and the two others. It is a case in Iganga. They stole about 700,000, 2 radios in the names of Makula, the type called Makula, but they had like 30 pangas, weapons amounting to 30 pangas. And of course, after stealing, these things were kept in the others I've talked about in their homes. Now, court in that case, Justice Senoga in Iganga stressed it clearly that where there is presence of a weapon at the scene of crime or during the commissioning of the crime, and then we witness weapons there, then chances are, if you have taken from this person, that is aggravated robbery. He also stressed the point that where there is grievous bodily harm caused on the person you are stealing from, or where you cause death to the person you are stealing from, and then you actually steal what does not belong to you, then what you have done is aggravated robbery. So members, we have agreed under robbery, we threaten to use, or we actually use actual violence while stealing what does not belong to us from the owner. We use that force or violence before, during, and after. A question may come and they tell you after they had stolen, they now kicked him or used the club to beat him. Now, if they tell you they used any weapon after getting what they wanted, they used any weapon, then that means that is aggravated robbery. But if they say after they kicked and beat him after they had stolen, then just know that is robbery. So that is how we go about robbery. But important to note what we failed to discuss earlier is that when you begin to answer any question about robbery, what you should note or what you should appreciate is Article 26. The first thing you write about is Article 26 of the Constitution, which provides that everybody has a right to own property. So in the event that they are stealing from you, they are violating your right to own property. So that is the opening statement of any question on theft, any question on robbery. That is where we start from. So we thank you so much for watching Law School Made Easy at Law School Made Easy 256. Subscribe, share, like our videos. Thank you so much. Until next time.